name is Oluwalonimi. She's 5 years old and she's living with cerebral palsy. My name is Bukola Inde. I am Oluwalonimi's mom. I want to tell you a little bit about cerebral palsy and a lot about my daughter. Cerebral palsy results from damage to some part of the brain. This may happen before the child was born, when the child was in the womb, or during childbirth, either due to prolonged labor and a woman was not able to have cesarean operation on time. It may result in the child being starved of oxygen in the brain and could result to cerebral palsy. And it could also be within the first few years of a child's life. When I was pregnant with Oluwalonimi, I had preeclampsia, and preeclampsia is characterized by protein in the urine, swelling of the hands and legs, and high blood pressure. The result of this was that Oluwalonimi was born some weeks before her expected due date. She was very low weight. She was around 1.2 kg at birth. And while she was in the incubator, she suffered from apnea, which is a sleep disorder. At the age of 4 months, actually, I noticed that Oluwalonimi could not sustain her head. Her neck could not sustain her head. She couldn't carry it by herself. And by 8 months, after all the tests were carried out, she was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy is a movement disorder because it affects the part of the brain that controls the muscles. We need our muscles to eat, smile, sit, stand up, and even poo. However, cerebral palsy appears differently in each case. For some children, it affects the hands. For some, it affects the legs. Some other children, it affects the speech and different other parts of the body that requires the use of our muscles. For Oluwalonimi, it affected her upper trunk, which includes her hands, neck control, and speech. She also has involuntary head movement, but it didn't affect her ability to think and learn.
Prior to meeting me, as I wasn't that familiar with cerebral palsy, I tried to have an open mind. I welcomed her to school just like I would to any other child. I wasn't having any doubts because what I believe every child has potentials in them. She has really come a long way. And she's always eager to participate in the class, and all the other children as well respond positively well. So, as a student, the difference is that she can't write, but every other thing she's really doing it. So the only difference is that she can write and she can communicate freely as the other children do. But in her own way, she do her best.
Hello, Mimi. How are you doing today? Very good.
She's able to tell you what a noun is. She's able to tell you the names. The noun is the name of a person, animal, place, or thing. And she also knows her tens and units. She can add and subtract up to 20. She knows number facts, as in addition facts, subtraction facts. When you ask her, she will take her time to tell you in her own way.
Nimi is like every and any other child that I've come across over my years of teaching, and I believe that children should have access to a very good standard of education. All children should have access to a very good standard of education. So there was no way I was going to turn Nimi down. Obviously, it took us a while before we could, get a hang of where Nimi was coming from. As you know, initially I didn't know that much about cerebral palsy. I'd worked with children on the autistic spectrum. I'd worked with some children with attention deficit disorders, but cerebral palsy was quite new to me. So obviously I had to go and research. And initially I didn't quite understand, what I was doing. But as time passed and we working with Nimi, we realized that actually she was just absorbing a lot. She already knew quite a bit even before coming, but what I would maybe say in this instant is that, working with us has seen everything that she's been learning, perhaps even before she came here, and even while she's been here, we've actually helped to bring it out. Now when Nimi comes to school, she's excited. When it's time for dance, in fact, if you don't notice her, she's just, you have to notice me. You understand? So she would do something to make sure. So her confidence has grown. Her confidence grows. If I haven't said hello, she would make sure she does something to make sure I notice her and say hello, and she would say hello back.
After we received Oluwalonimi's diagnosis, we were told that she will never be able to talk, walk, do things for herself, or even reason like other children. We were devastated. After a while, one of Nimi's therapists who had been working with her suggested that we enroll her in a mainstream school. I looked for a school around the house, and she started attending a school, a Montessori school, and she didn't give us any indication that she was learning anything, but we still kept her in school with her peers. Then in 2016, she was assaulted by her physiotherapist, and that was really scary. We were scared, so we withdrew her from everything. We withdrew her from school, from therapies, and we brought her home to care for her at home. We didn't want her out of our sight. Later on, I met Tobiloba Ajayi, and she encouraged me to let go of my fears and put me back in school. There was something she said. She said I couldn't hide her in the house forever. At a point, she had to learn how to be independent. And that was when I went out to look for another school for Nimi. The first day Nimi will start in her new school, the children in her school gave her a welcome card. That was really cool. The proprietress, teachers, and children were welcoming. And today, Nimi is doing so well in school. I am really thankful. She has surpassed even my expectation of the things that I thought she would do in school at her age. I'm truly happy. She even takes part in extracurricular activities like dancing. And for me, it doesn't matter if she's not doing it as well as other kids. As long as she's taking part, she could even be in the cheerleading group, For me, that is inclusive education in the true sense of it. And I see the benefits in Oluwalonimi every single day.
When I learned about it, it was just a period of giving a rest to my fear, because initially, during the pregnancy, I've already subscribed to a magazine that gives the weekly progress of the child, till the time of the birth. And, when Oluwalonimi was born, she, at a point in time, you'll find out that she will just be feasting her hands. So I've suspected that there is a problem at hand. So when I heard about it, it's just putting a rest to the whole thing, and life continues. My dream for Oluwalonimi is to be able to bring out the ability in her. Someone said disability is disability. So there is ability in Oluwalonimi. My dream is that she'll be able to recognize it, she'll be able to make use of it, and to progress in life through that.
Apart from Nimi having cerebral palsy and doing lots of therapy, she's just like any other kid. She loves to watch TV, play football, swim, eat spaghetti and sausage. Her best snack is cake, and she drinks lots of water. Yeah, she does.
If we had assumed that Oluwalonimi could not learn and refused to educate her, we would never have realized her potentials today. The fact that a child has cerebral palsy doesn't mean that a child has intellectual disability. A child can learn even if the child cannot speak well, the child has speech impairment, the child has no hands or cannot use his or her hands. Nimi still has therapies. She has not stopped, but alongside she's getting an education. When I look at it, if the school she's attending today did not accept her, maybe she'll still be at home. I want to encourage all school owners to embrace inclusive education. It is a great opportunity for every child. I want to implore everyone to change their thinking about children with neurological disorder, such as cerebral palsy, autism, Down syndrome, and other disabilities. They are medical conditions and not an aftermath of sin or witchcraft. These children did not ask to be born this way. The least we could do is to show them love. I have written some books to promote inclusive education, as well as encourage children to show empathy to other children who have disabilities. My hope is to change the narrative about disability in Nigeria. Let's love without boundaries. Thank you.